Mr. Lindbergh, still your favourite teacher?
How did you know that?
I do digging all the time. I caught you out there, didn't I? Hey.
Who told you that?
So basically, like, my random comment that I open the pod with, I try and get a bit of like dirt on someone or do a bit of research.
Jesus.
So I scroll through social media, find like people you tagged with and stuff, and message them. And a good friend of yours said to me, just mention Mr. Lindbergh. He said his face will drop.
That's probably Nick or Rob or someone like that.
The nutritionist.
Yeah?
The fella who's a nutritionist.
Bobby, yeah, Rob, yeah. Yeah, no, mate.
He said he was a bit of a demon for you. He was a bit of an
he
actually
said that I was never good enough to be a doctor. And I remember he was a massive Everton fan as well.
Yeah.
And what's ironic is I actually became a doctor, and then for a season I started working for Everton. So, that was
just like that.
Sweet,
like. Love you, Lynn. Enjoy that
God
one.
bless his soul. I wonder what he's doing now. Like, probably still in the same job. He's telling people they can't be you're not good enough to be a man or whatever. Like,
fucking tit.
Oh, mate. That's that's a good.
You're off
my
guard,
face dropped. Then I was just like,
that was priceless. That you just looked at me like, how the fuck do you know that one? I love shit like that. I love catching people out. Go on.
But yeah, man, thanks for having us on with that brilliant intro.
No worries, lad. I've got another one. Are you still wearing a suit and doing press conferences for reaching the World Cup final on Footy Manager?
That's either come from my brother. It's come from my brother.
I got in touch with your brother, and he was playing Football Manager all the time, and he got to the final with England. He went, so he made me video a press conference wearing a suit and singing and all that. I was like, please give me the video.
I think I've got that. Yeah, I think you sent the video. It was just. I remember it must have been a really poor World Cup because I played Cameroon in the World Cup final, and we ended up winning. It was, but you know, like one of these summits. I haven't bought like Football Manager, like because it's just massively addictive.
It does. It just consumes everything.
Is it still around? No,
I think it's still out, but it just consumes your life, doesn't it? Games do. I lost so many months into fucking Footy Manager or Championship Manager and stuff. I just like didn't see the sunlight or not, and I was just on my computer.
I think there was one year that I bought like the new GTA. I think it was the one after San Andreas, and mate, you were up to like 5-6 in the morning.
Oh, mate, all the time.
Just like when the sunlight comes on, just like.
My boss now in work, when he was an apprentice, he was addicted to his PlayStation, and like he'd stay up all night and wouldn't answer his phone or not. And it got to a point where the big manager had to log onto his PlayStation and message him saying, "You're in work in an hour. Fucking get offline, you dickhead." He was just on it like 17 hours a day or something.
Like, you know, they mention like, I know this is a really like, they mention addictions to something which we'll talk about. Imagine being addicted to like. I'm sure you can do like.
Do you know what?
Games,
I got to that point in lockdown, so I hadn't played my PlayStation for years.
Yeah.
I've got 3 kids. I don't really have time. But when we first went into lockdown, I was still working, and then because I work in the automotive industry, so we were still building, and then Jaguar closed, so we got furloughed. So I was like, one night, I'm sat in the house 24 hours a day. What can I do? I was like, get my PlayStation back out. So I downloaded Warzone. And I was just addicted then.
That's my brother,
I was on it. I made friends online, and I was like headsets on, like, oh, he's over there, and she was going to meet, you're a fucking virgin. Get off the computer now. She went, it's the most unattractive thing I've ever seen in my life. Watching a 30-year-old man talk to people he's never met in his life out shooting people. And then she'd go to me, have the kids yet? And I'm like, what kids? She was like, you've got 3 children, Gary. Get off the fucking computer and feed your kids. And I was like, oh, sorry, yeah. She said to me, if you don't get off that PlayStation, you're moving back in with your mama. So I've given it to my son. My PlayStation's upstairs.
I hand this down to you.
I was like, you take that before I'm handing you my
No, because I'm trying to find the new PlayStation. I can't find it anywhere. Because you get hear rumours. Like my cousin was like, "Oh, I've heard it's coming out at 2 a.m. tonight on August." So I waited till 2 a.m. Like nothing comes out. Like,
they're just like,
I don't know.
As soon as someone gets them in stock, they're gone within hours. It's mad. It's mad. So, have you been anyway?
I've been good, man. I've been good. Just
good lad.
Just been keeping busy and stuff. Like, you know, because everything's opening up now.
Yeah.
So we're sort of getting patients and stuff. But yeah, it's been a hard 12 for 15 months.
Yeah.
It's for everyone, really.
It has. It's been really tough, and we'll touch on stuff in a little bit later. But so I want to talk about becoming a doctor and sort of your journey to become a doctor. So I know your mum's a doctor, isn't she?
Dad's a doctor.
Yeah, mum and dad both doctors. So were they the inspiration behind it, or?
Yeah, definitely. Like, you sort of grow into it. Like I always say, you know, if you whatever your mum and dad are doing, it's surrounding you. Like I'm a big boxing fan as well. So look at all the, like, Chris Eubank, he's fighting tonight. Obviously, his dad. You grow up engulfed in that life, and then relatives are also doctors as well. Like, this is a really strange. But I always said that if I didn't become a doctor, I would have, because I used to enjoy watching shows like The Bill and stuff. Not that it's anything
you
like
can't
that.
beat The Bill though.
The Bill was good.
The Bill was sick.
Like Line of Duty, which I like Line of Duty at the moment. I always said maybe getting a normal degree and going into police force where I was a detective, but yeah, thank God I didn't do that.
Do you know what? The police force isn't paid enough.
They are. I used to think NHS workers are underpaid and overworked, and they are, a lot of them.
100%.
But mate, the police force, they're underpaid, hard worked, and they're like abused, they're spat on.
But everyone who provides a service like that are massively underpaid. It's obviously when you get to the sort of the higher sort of part of the NHS or the police force, you can get paid really high, but you've got to work your ass off and grind for years to get there.
But don't you think, with the police, with the NHS, like, people are going in, they're getting treated, essentially, they're going in to get something, whereas with the police force, because they're enforcing the law of authority, they'll never be anyone's favourite. No. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, like, I'm sure there's good and bad police everywhere, but
100%.
for them to be spat on and abused and stuff like that.
Listen, everybody on this planet has needed or will need the police at some point in their life.
And people don't realise that and stuff like that.
Yeah, they just get tarnished, don't they?
Yeah, it's just, but that's the thing, and that's, I only, because when I worked in hospital, you get the police coming in, bringing prisoners in, and mate, they all look so miserable. Like, and all the ones I've asked, I was like, "Oh, you having a good night?" And they're like, they seem to enjoy the fact that they've had a time off their shift to come and take this person's off.
Exactly.
Don't have to do anything. Like, so I'm like, I'm sort of glad I didn't make the right career.
Listen, I'm getting paid 19.5 grand a year to put my life on the line. Do I look fucking all right? You know what I mean? It's shocking, because where I work, the lads on the production line, they literally put screws in seats, scan barcodes, and rub their hands on a bit of leather. They get paid 30 grand a year. It's like, it's not bad. It's crazy, but that's because it's the automotive sector. It's private. They can pay whatever they want.
And I think a big part of it with becoming a doctor as well, because obviously I always say personalities match different careers.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you've got that quite caring, empathetic nature to you, you're going to go into something which has a job that requires that.
Yeah.
If you find yourself, you're quite a ruthless, narcistic person, who doesn't stop jobs like, I don't know, solicitor or something. I'm not saying this, but certain careers will
100%
suit that.
100%. But then at the same time, so
you're quite an outspoken, I don't give a F attitude. Maybe this career sort of suit that. So it's
100%. And like, I used to work with a guy who was ex-army and ex-doorman, and he worked in our factory. And he said like the head doorman on the bar he was on was like a really high-paid solicitor. He was a partner at a massive firm in Liverpool. Yeah. But he was a head doorman on the weekend because he just wanted to punch fuck out of people on a weekend. So he'd work Friday, Saturday nights, and he was small, and he'd just get his anger out on a Friday and Saturday. He'd get into scraps and batter everyone, but he was like this really high-paid, high-up solicitor, and I was like, it's mad, that, innit?
Why don't you just get into combat sport?
Exactly, why MMA? Go and take it out on people? It's mad,
It's a bit like, it seems to me that person's a bit of like a bully.
A bully, 100%.
You're not going to get into a box.
It's a erratic behaviour, innit?
You're going to come up against someone who'll put that to you, but it's just, that's a bit, and it's a solicitor as well. That's mad.
Partner in a firm. He was a partner in a massive firm.
Quite like a well-spoken person and stuff.
Yeah.
Something going on.
It's crazy, innit? Yeah. Something's going on in the house there at home, innit? So you said, obviously, your parents were doctors and that sort of led you down the route. Did you already decide you wanted to be a doctor, or did the incident with Mr. Lindbergh push you further?
You know what? Like, I was always thinking about it, but I was never too sure at 14, 15. I was like, I want to maybe go into business.
The thing is, you're too early to make that decision.
I don't fucking know. Like, the thing is, your parents are trying to push you, but it's like, I don't know. And then I think when I finally made my mind up, like 17, I hadn't really pushed myself in school at that point. And then I was like, right, this is what I want to do. So my grades, they weren't that bad. Like, they were like B's and stuff like that. And then obviously at the point where I was like, right, I want to do medicine. So obviously when I had to put the personal statements out, the teachers fill out these things, and that teacher said, I remember he was just like, he's not precise enough to be a doctor, whatever the fuck that means. He's an expert. So I was like, all right, that's fine. And I sort of fueled that as motivation. Yeah. And then sort of I got the grades in the end, took a gap year, and then studied in Leeds. Yeah. But I always said, because I'm quite a homebody, like I like being at home, like I've got all my friends back home on the Wirral and stuff. I'd always come back home every weekend. I always said, well, when I finish uni, I want to come back and
because a lot of people go and do uni in another city and they end up staying there.
Yeah, just fuck it off. But I always said that I want to work as a GP and work as a GP to my family and friends, sort of thing. Like treating that sort of community. Cool. That was it really. I mean, it's just the journey itself is like. It's like a 5-year degree, so it's so long.
I was going to say, you've just said you wanted to become a GP, so all doctors go through the same training at the start, don't they? You do medical school, then you do 2 years junior doctor, and then you decide the avenue you want to go in.
That's it.
So did you already have your mind made up that you wanted to be a general practitioner, or was that something you decided along the journey?
Probably along the journey. It was either or, to be honest. Initially, funny enough, I wanted to go to elderly medicine, so working with the elderly, because that's... At a point, that's probably the only part of being a doctor I found rewarding, truly.
It's about getting feedback from your job, isn't it?
Yeah, because I feel that they are the ones that are truly sick, the 80, 90, 70
the vulnerable people.
Yeah, they're vulnerable, and they're the soldiers. They just, like, you won't know they're sick, like, your grandma, your granddad, you will not have a clue.
They'll be waiting until they're on death's door before they go and get help.
Yeah, and a lot of them, especially in this country as well, with like cuts and stuff, there's not a lot of help for them, a lot of, especially lockdown as well. They've been by themselves, but
it's sad, isn't it?
Definitely. But the only thing that put me off working in hospital was just the hours. Like if I was still working in hospital now, I'd probably be working on this weekend. You work a weekend a month.
It's difficult, yeah.
Yeah.
My youngest son Lennon, who you met then, he couldn't feed from birth, so he lived in Alder Hay for like 7 months, and he was peg fed up until he was like 18 months old. So I lived in the hospital for 7 months, and we formed friendships with the nurses and doctors, and you're seeing the hours they went through, and I was like, I take my hat off to you, because you are unbelievable. The service you're providing, it was. I didn't, obviously I knew they worked long hours, but I didn't understand, like, they didn't even get breaks sometimes, and I was like, that is madness.
Especially the nurses, like I always say, nurses are
underrated and underpaid massively.
Them,
100%.
They work 4 days a week. Their shifts will be like 14-hour shifts, and they get 2 breaks. Sometimes they make like. And the thing, I always find the difference with doctors and nurses is, unless you do something really inappropriate, like really, really criminal, if you make a mistake as a doctor, you'll have a meeting, you'll reflect on it, you'll learn from it. Whereas with nurses, and I'm sure I've spoken to a lot of nurses, and they'll all agree, even if they make the smallest mistake, all their other nursing colleagues will disperse at them, and then they'll be left to shat on by the head nurse.
That's heavy, isn't it?
They could lose their job and stuff like that.
That's not nice. That's naughty. It's horrible.
It could be something as simple as they're tired and they give, put a little error or something like that, which can happen to anyone. But the sort of the hospital hours just put me off. Like nights, 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. Working on weekends, and there's you're missing a lot of.
It's work-life balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
You want to enjoy life as well. You've gone through university for so long to build this career, but you want to enjoy the life you give yourself. If you're stuck in hospitals for 14 hours a day, and the days you get off, you're then recovering and resting.
And then everyone else is at work as well.
Yeah, and then you're back. It is mad, isn't it?
So that's the thing. Unless all your friends are in the same position as you, the days you are off, they're all at work. So what can you do? Like
exactly.
But
how was medical school then? Did you enjoy it?
It was good, it was long.
Did you take it serious, or did you enjoy some nights out as well?
I did take it seriously.
When I say enjoy your nights out, your 1 hour night out because you can't handle your drink. That's another one I've been told.
Don't do that.
Another one on your social media was like, mention as 1 hour nights out because you can't drink at all.
Where's that come from?
I get my phone out in a bit and I'll show you.
That's amazing. No, mate, I don't drink anymore, mate. I haven't drunk since we went to Amsterdam 2019.
Oh wow!
Just because I can't handle my drink, and the longer you go, the longer you take gaps of drinking. When you do get a drink, it's horrible.
Yeah.
But then lockdown kicked, and then I just haven't. But oh, mate, I remember some people when we pre-drink. I'd have to leave it till really late to start, to like pace myself to 2. Otherwise, yeah, it would just be an early night.
It's heavy, innit?
An early door. I don't know how people like, you're probably one of the, I don't know how people can drink, like start at like 4 or 5 p.m. and go on till 2 in the morning.
It's mad. Incredible. And as you get older, like when I was younger, I thought, the older you get, the more you sort of get accustomed to alcohol. You do not. Like when I was 18, if I had a hangover, I could recover and go for a run. Now, if I have a hangover, I'm crying to my bed for about 4 days afterwards and everything. I can't handle it.
Maybe because it's what I was drinking. Because I never used to drink beer and wine. It would just be like vodka and juice, vodka just and lemonade. Spirits, yeah, which is just that. Nothing, no other spirits, just vodka.
That's a hardcore spirit as well, isn't it? No way.
No, that was uni was good. I used to come home every weekend though, just to go out with my mates back home.
That's nice though, isn't it?
I don't know. Yeah, so but it was Leeds was cool. Leeds was a good city.
It's a good city. It is a nice city. Yeah,
they don't mind Scousers there and stuff.
No, they're all right. Yeah,
they're okay. Like
I've been up to Leeds a few times, so I've been to a few gigs and all that. So it's good up there.
But.
It's a working class city, innit? So
it is. They sound like a lot of them are sound. It's not like you go into like Durham or Bath or something like
that. Exactly. So as being a GP, then I was talking a few days ago to one of my mates about doctors these days compared to like old school doctors. So growing up, all the doctors in my GP surgery were all really old, and like obviously with age you get life experiences, so they're so knowledgeable and stuff. And then just before lockdown, I went to my local GP over an issue, and when I went in, it was a young lad who had played rugby with and against for years, and I was like, I didn't know you were a doctor. And like when he didn't understand my symptoms or not, and he was panicking. I don't know if it's because he knew me as well. He was fresh off the block, do you know what I mean? So we had to get someone else in to diagnose, and I was like,
he must have been a trainee.
He must have been,
student,
but he was on his own in the room when I went in, and I was like, I lost a bit of faith, and I was like, is that me being judgmental? Because everyone's got to learn the trade at some point. Yeah. But do you think there's a difference in doctors now compared to the old school doctors, or do you think
100%, yeah,
positive or negative?
Positive, I'd say.
Yeah, because there's more available to you to learn.
So what with him, he was probably, I could probably tell you now, he was in his, what practice is it?
Edge Lane.
Not the Edge Hill Medical Centre.
Yes, Edge Hill Medical Centre on Edge Lane.
Yeah. I was working a shift there on Tuesday.
Really?
Yeah, I worked shift there every Tuesday. So
this was 20 months ago.
Okay, fair enough. So he was either a medical student or he was a junior doctor, you know, like who hadn't started his training. Yeah. So basically, so it is. It's just one of those.
But I think it might, because I knew him from rugby, it might have caught him off guard a little bit as well. So
maybe, you probably caught a trainee. But basically, with the new thing of doctors is there's a big thing on like communication skills.
Yeah.
Like a big thing now is what we're taught is find out what their ideas are, find out what their concerns are, and find out what their expectations are. So it's nice, you know, like so you know, if you come in saying I've got a cough, you know, what do you think might be going on? I always say, what are you worried about the most, and what was it that you were hoping that you'd want to get out of me? Because I might think you want some antibiotics, but you might want a sick note, so we might be not meeting in the middle. But a lot of the old school doctors will, like from the 90s, it's sort of
just almost black and white.
It's almost seems like I'm the doctor, everyone sees me as a demigod. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not the case now. Like, we're seen as like piece of shit. And well, the NHS is, you know,
you do, and it's unfortunate because it does me titsing, because again, everyone needs a doctor, everyone needs the NHS, and they do expect you to fucking drop everything.
And I think the old school was like with those doctors, it's like, right, I'm going to do this. You listen to me. Here you go. Out you go, out the room. Whereas now it's more listen.
More compassion now, isn't it?
More compassion. You've got to explore. Listen, you might come in. You've almost got to think outside the box. To say a child comes in with a bruise. About that bruise. Why is that bruise got there? Is there something going on at home?
Yeah. You've got to watch out for things, because then social services need to get involved and stuff.
Or a man coming in, which we'll get onto, coming in, you know, who's ex-military, who's come in with a drinking problem. Why has he got that drinking problem? Is it PTSD going on? Is something going on at home?
Yeah.
It's almost more to it than that.
Meets the eye, It's if anything, you've got to sort of be a mind reader now, haven't you, as a doctor? Because you've got to try and read all these signals and signs,
definitely. And
it's challenging. It's not just like, oh, I can hear your cough, I can see you've got a broken arm. Definitely. You're not just seeing physical things, you've got to understand that person.
It's got harder since we've sort of done telephone calls.
Yeah.
Because I always say, like...
It's body language, innit?
I always say the eyes are the windows into the soul, basically. You know, like,
that's
the
a good
eyes
one,
are the
though. I like
soul.
that.
So if you've got someone sat in front of me, even from them walking in the room, I see them limping, I see them sitting down, I see how they're hunched over, their body language, how they're talking, everything is mannerisms, and I can almost tell within the first, like, and it's probably the same with people like police officers and stuff. You become accustomed to when people are lying, when people are telling the truth, what they really want. You know, why I always say, why have they come here with this problem at this point? You understand what I'm saying? If they're like, this issue's been going on for 5 years, I was like, well, what's brought you in now?
Now, 5 years is a long time, so why now?
The telephone call stuff it's hard.
It's frustrating, isn't it?
It's like, I feel like a call, like, you can almost you can appear rude to someone on the phone. They can appear rude to you, whereas in person, body language, it's.
But the thing with the phone system as well. So it was sort of thrown on you overnight, and you had to find a system that worked, and it didn't work straight away. So obviously the patients are getting frustrated. It's not your fault. You've been forced to go down that avenue, but then they're taking it out on you, and you're like, I'm trying to help you. It's tough.
I think at one point you're like, why can't we see patients? I was like, it's the government. And there was like, well, the other surgeries are. I was like, I know the other surgeries aren't. Like, and then they was like, well, who do I raise this with? And as a laugh, I was like, well, why do you email Matt Hancock?
Yeah, get involved with Hancock and Boris lad.
Matt.Hancock@gov.uk.
Get on his Tinder profile, lad.
Try that email. Like, yeah, mate. I'm sort of glad it's settling down. Like, touch wood, but it's not just the COVID thing. It's brought about everything, you know. Yeah. Everything sort of with it: mental health, drug addiction, sleep problem, everything. Yeah. Delaying cancer treatments and everything. Like
even
that.
like domestic abuse, it went up massively, didn't it? Because people are locked inside with people and all that. So it was all kinds.
Arguments, verbal, physical abuse. It's bad. Like, it's bad.
It is. But I think at the same time, we had a conversation this morning about it. They've got to be careful and not just open the floodgates, because last time we opened the floodgates, everyone went out. It then spiked again. Everyone was locked back up. If you're opening all the clubs and pubs, people then going back out, being dependent on alcohol, and then they're locked up again. People's mental health's going to be really fragile at that point. So it just needs to be careful, baby steps, not too soon, you know. And I get everyone's fed up and just want to get out. And I'm the person. I started stand-up comedy last year. Oh, really? So I miss gigs. I want to get out gigging. Oh, nice. But I don't want to rush too soon and open the floodgates and then we just go backwards.
That was the same thing. I was talking to Paul
Smith about it.
He was just like, they're badly affected as well. The gigs are shut down and stuff like that. It's
horrible, yeah. And especially hot water, like Paul Blair and stuff. They've worked so hard to create what they've created, and then just to have the sort of carpet pulled from underneath them, it's really tough on them. Do you know what I mean? But definitely. Listen, we're all in it together.
I know, mate.
How did you go down the sports doctor avenue then? How does that come about?
So I was like, I boxed competitively as an amateur.
You were an amateur boxer, weren't you?
From 2010, 2014. So I always enjoyed the sports aspect. And as someone, like, I do believe anything in this, any physical exercise can help with your, any form of exercise can help with your physical and mental health.
Yeah.
From anything from depression, anxiety to arthritis. And
it's scientifically proven.
Yeah, if you go, how good do you feel when you go and do some exercise? So
massively. I
always wanted to work within that sports field, you know, doing something, essentially working in an area, a field that you like, sort of thing. Yeah. So I sort of do that at the side, you know, like so I've worked football.
You worked at Everton for a year,
ladies, yeah. I currently work for Widnes Vikings at the moment.
Okay, rugby league.
Rugby league, yeah. But I was working for the academy side, but they've chopped down the academy side now because of COVID. So I'm just cover some of the first team. And I work in the amateur and professional boxing. So they're good. Like, obviously, different sports have different, like, the athletes and the demands and stuff like that. The football was a good experience and stuff, but yeah, they were quite demanding. Like,
really?
They were quite demanding.
I can imagine. I don't know anyone who's worked sort of on the medical side in football, but a few guys that I know growing up. One's Jimmy, the kit man at Everton. He was like our manager for a few years on our amateur football team, and then a lad, Scott, he was the groundsman at Goodison and stuff. So he said it's mad when you work within a club, like, it's crazy.
Yeah, they're just they're so, like, they're very sheltered. Like, because I was working with the women's side, and Yeah, it's just because I've been to Finch Farm a couple of times and stuff, but you think they'll all be together, but the first team at that time, because I remember that was the season Rooney was playing, 2017-18.
Yeah.
And they're literally in a separate department.
Yeah.
They don't eat lunch together from the...
Yeah, they're just isolated, aren't they?
Isolated. I was like, wow. You know,
it's crazy, you know?
It's mad. And I think this is when... was Coleman? Coleman was manager, was it?
Ronald Coleman.
Coleman, yeah, and he was... Yeah, he wasn't really liked at that point.
He wasn't, yeah. He's a bit of a special fella. Like not everyone loved him. So
at that point, but no, it was an experience. It was one of them, to be honest. Like I wouldn't get back into football.
No.
Like I like the.
You like combat sport, don't you?
Yeah. So I find the rugby and the boxers, rugby players and boxers are very, very similar.
Yeah.
In the nature,
physique and everything.
In the physique, in the mentality, in the nature, very stoic. Just get on with things.
Exactly.
Come and ask you if they're really injured, and
I imagine, especially like with the rugby as well, there'll be times where you're going to one of the players, listen, I need to treat you here, and they're like, fucking get off me, let me carry on. Do you know what I mean?
Basically, when they in rugby league, if they've had a bad tackle, and the referee's worried they're concussed, they'll call you on. So like the player, one player just got up with his feet and was just stumbling around. I was like, "Come on, mate, let's get you because you got 15 minutes to assess the man in the changing room. Let's get you off." He's like, "No, I'm fine," and like continued to walk off, but was stumbling. I was like, oh,
"Listen, let's go.
Let's go." And then you go and ask them questions, but a lot of them just want to get back. They're mad.
Yeah. I played rugby union for about 4 or 5 years. Yeah, not at a massive level. I played for Preston Grasshoppers up in Preston. And I played for the social teams, but their first team was like 2 divisions below the Gallagher Premiership and all that. And they had a lot of funding. They had doctors there all the time, and you'd watch it going on. Like the lads are in bits on the floor trying to play on, and the doctor's like, "Get here, lad! You've your head spinning and everything."
And but there's there's obviously because they've taken so many bumps and stuff. Yeah, there's a big problem with. I wouldn't say it's a big problem, but a lot of them will ask you for prescriptions for like strong pain, like tramadol and like sleeping tablets and stuff after.
And you can't.
And I'm just like, no, what do you need them for? Like, and then you got to think they're going to be taking them and they're going to be going out drinking as well.
You got to think of the bigger picture, haven't you? They're not going to take it and go home and chill. They want to sort that pain out there and then go and enjoy life. It's a dangerous game, innit?
No chance.
But what sort of scared me is the movie Concussion, is it? Where Will Smith,
mate. I remember watching a bit of it, and I was like, I haven't seen the full thing yet. But I
watched it in hospital. I had my appendix out. And I was sat there, didn't know what to do, and someone said, "Oh, you should watch it," and I was so intrigued by it. It was unbelievable. Didn't realise how serious it was. Like,
oh, it's mad. Like it's rugby. Boxing is, I'd say boxing and American football. American football is the big one.
Because obviously rugby is like, over the chest. You get the odd slip, but it's like under the chest there's a tackle. Definitely, but like American football, because there's equipment, there's just no whole bars. It's just like smashing each other.
That Netflix documentary on Aaron Hernandez.
The fella who went nuts and like killed people and all that.
Like killed his best friend, just killed some random person for looking at anything. And then he killed himself in prison. Like
it's scary, innit?
Yeah, they don't know whether he had brain injury, whether he was dealing with being, a closet, at the time. It's scary, and you see it with boxing as well. Like like the older boxers now, slurring their sleep.
Punch drunk, aren't they, and all that?
Punch drunk,
it's sad, but like your brain isn't designed to be fucking twatted all the time. Do you know what I mean?
And that's the thing. Even now, when I see a lot of them, it's more so in boxing than MMA, because in MMA. You get hit to the ground. As soon as you start to be pounded, the referee will jump in. Boxing, you could be there taking punches with 10
unnecessary punches.
And a lot of times, especially in amateur boxing, when they've been dropped and I'm worried they're concussed, you got to give someone advice on concussion. So you often say you can't be left alone for 24 hours, no alcohol for 48. I wouldn't be doing any exercise for the next few weeks. And a lot of them may not listen to that advice. They'll just go back to doing.
It's naive as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah, because they think, I've got no headaches now. I'm actually fine.
But again, because there's no sort of physical damage, they don't think about it. Now, there's a story so my family come from Ireland. And my mum told me the story years ago. So I don't know if you're aware of the sport hurling. So it's an Irish sport. There was a Guinness advert years ago. Don't you remember it?
It's not like lacrosse, is it?
It's like the wooden stick. It's called hurling, but the ball's really, really hard. And it was a junior game. I think it was like under 12s or under 13s, final or whatever. And a family friend, they call it a lick of the hell. They got caught on the side of the head. They had a tiny, tiny cut. Put like butterfly stitches on. Carried on playing on and all that. Dropped dead about 7 hours later. just the damage inside the internal bleed, just dropped dead.
The bleed,
13-year-old, and it's like smallest cut in the world. You know, you think, oh, sound still split.
That's mad. Because I always say, anyone with a head injury, if you get if you have more than 2 episodes of vomiting, anything, if you fall over on a night out, bang your head, whatever, if you have more than 2 episodes of vomiting, you need to go to A&E, because you need to scan your head, any confusion, you know, not yourself and stuff. But a lot of times the scan of the head won't show concussion. Even if it's normal, you'll still be concussed. So yeah, concussion's a big issue.
It is massive.
It's a silent sort of thing, and especially when they keep. It's fine if they retire in the normal age, but when they keep fighting older and older and older.
You've seen that with some boxers where you're like, you should have retired 4 fights ago.
Some of the old boxers,
but it's pride, isn't it?
It is. It's probably pride, probably the money.
It's money, if someone's offering you, if someone's saying, right, there's fucking a mill or something to fight, you can't turn that down. I'm so when they live like an extravagant lifestyle as well, and they've blown all the money.
Look at all the top boxers that retired with their faculties, like Carl Froch, Lennox Lewis. You don't see them coming back, but the ones that do. Why do you need to come back? Like you don't. You don't. Just to
leave it where it is.
The Holyfield and all these people.
These exhibition fights and all that, though, they're crazy, aren't they? Like Roy Jones and Mike Tyson, that exhibition fight.
Like, why did you need to do that?
You don't. Staffed, and you're retired. You've got a family life now. Just live your life. Do you know what I mean? And again, it's just the money. People put numbers in front of you.
Money, pride. It's probably all they know as well.
That's it.
It's probably just that.
That's been their bread and butter from day one. Egotistical people with boxing. And that's the thing, I'm harder than you. So if someone's talking shit, you're like, I want to prove a point to you. It's tough.
Security.
I've been through your Instagram and I've seen you've met some big stars. Who's like probably the biggest that you think you've met or you think, wow?
That was starstruck.
Yeah.
Lennox Lewis.
Was it?
By far, yeah.
And didn't he tweet or something when you graduated as well? That's unbelievable. I seen that and he was like, oh, that was boss. You know you've made it when Lennox Lewis.
Because I grew up watching Lennox Lewis, so that was just like a thing for me. Like Anthony Joshua I've met twice, but when I was boxing at the same time, as an amateur, he was the super heavyweight champion at that thing. So we were in sort of contact. I remember I contacted him on Facebook, and I met him when I went out to Spa. Before. So I wasn't thinking and all the other people, but by far Lennox.
And he's big though as well.
Lennox is a big man. Like he was just there, but that probably Lennox.
Good lad.
But all the other like the boxers like you just get used to because you work for them.
But that's what I'm saying.
So it's not like a.
You're not just a little fanboy, you know what I mean? And the thing is, you see that many people now. If you see one or two, it's big for you. But
like the show that one of the boxers I worked for, he was fighting the other month or something.
Anthony Fowler.
So I was there and I just sat next to Eddie Hearn. I was just
Didn't someone look tough or something on us when you were walking through and all that?
I was just mad.
I was watching it and I just seen him wrestling him like that. I was like, that's fucking mad, that.
So it was just at fucking Eddie Hearn. I was like, I don't really want to ask a photo from him. It just looks silly. Like, he just looks really like...
It doesn't, but in your mind, you're like...
If you can do it when no one's watching, like, it's fine.
But I'm here as a professional capacity. I get that.
Because there are a few, like, I remember we were backstage. We were in the dressing room, and he was getting warmed up. And I don't know who he was. I think it must have been one of the security guards. He said, "Oh, mate, Fowler, I'm a big fan of yours. Can you get a photo?" Anthony's absolutely lovely, and he was like, "Yeah, that's fine." So I took a photo for him. And I was like, the guy's warming up, like, just like,
and that's the thing, he's trying to get in the zone here. And I hate that. Like I've mentioned it before.
Anne would take a photo for everyone, but I always say to him, I was like, mate, it's like, do you not when you walk in, and do you not get like bothered by like people coming like knowing and saying, he's like, no, I'm fine.
The thing is, there's two ways to look at it, right? If you're playing a trade where you're in the limelight and you're famous, you've got to expect that. You can either be seen as arrogant and push people away, or be, welcome them with open arms. I imagine it's grinding and it's hard because you're just trying to go around your everyday life and you're getting pestered by people constantly.
The biggest thing I said, like I've said to him, I was like, how do you deal? Because I'd want to just comment back.
What, the negativity?
To everyone, even if it's a troll, I'd be like, come and say that to my face. I'd literally say, come and say that to my face.
You can't take it to heart, though, can you?
How do you deal with the stuff? And it's for all these celebs and stuff and these things. How do you deal with the trolling on Facebook, on Instagram and stuff? How the hell do you do? He's like, you just got to laugh it off and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like,
it's a mental strength in it because
I'd want to literally, I'd private message anytime that I've had them in the past. I've deleted the comment and I've private messaged them. I was like, if you got something to say,
I'll smash it in.
It's like that.
It is just that.
It is just like it's that, but that's. And it's such a... And then you think back a few hours later, I was like, why did I do that?
Yeah. You're human.
It is. It's a human thing.
You're reacting there and then. No one likes negativity. No one likes being told you're a fucking tit or anything. So you're like, hang on a minute, what's going on? But
and that person, I was like, there's no follow. You know, it's just like a fake profile. And I was like, how do you deal with it? And he's just like, you just got to laugh it off.
I take my hat off to the people who do just laugh it off because it must be tough.
It's hard. And it takes back to... people, I'm sure about these different about these celebs because they have people running their things, but normal people that get abuse on social media, like it must be affecting their mental health.
The Minerva lads, they mentioned this, so they're just local lads. Obviously, Jack's got his Epiphany coach. They've got the podcast. They're not ultra famous, you know what I mean? And people set up fake accounts and started trolling them, commenting on guests and all that, talking about mental health being dead negative, and I was like, why are you going out your way to do that?
Why would you do that? Setting
up fake emails, fake Instagram accounts and everything. I was like, get a grip. Like, there's no need for you to be doing that at all.
I will tell you this now, and I hope that sad bastard is fucking listening. I remember I had, on one of my podcasts, I had Dean Garnett on.
Yeah.
He's
a boss lad, Dean.
He's a good lad, yeah. He's a fucking great lad. Yeah. I mean, I've always said to him, despite the different views, he's a nice lad.
Listen,
he's a good lad.
Yeah. You're not going to agree with everyone, and he's very passionate.
I've said to him, I don't agree with him, but he's actually a top lad. He's really into his coaching. Yeah. So I remember I had him on for one of the episodes. So obviously he was saying what he has to say, and I'm not using that podcast to start arguing with you. I'll let you talk. I'll be like, yeah.
You're giving someone a platform,
yeah. Okay. I remember this one fake profile. He was like, oh, you're a disgrace. You're a doctor. You've had him on. If you don't remove this, I'm going to report you to the GMC. The GMC's our thing. Yeah. I was like, who are you? And the biggest thing I did was engaged. I was like, so you're going to report me because you don't like this man? And he was like, yeah, you're agreeing with his lies. I was like, I'm not agreeing with anything. Go watch the video back. And then I blocked him. And then the sad bastard made another profile and messaged. And then I sort of... I was like, all right, mate. I calmed him down. I was like, all right, mate, I'll delete it. And then he was like, oh, I'm really apologise for the abuse. I'm going through a tough time myself. I've got my mental health issues as well. And then just to piss him off, I put up another story of it, to promote it again. Yeah. And then I sent him crazy. And I think he just calmed down in the end.
The thing is, though, as you said, you don't agree with all his views.
It's fucking weird.
You're not going to agree with everyone in life, but you're allowed to have conversation just because yours is on the internet. You know what I mean?
Would you go, if a journalist or BBC News had, I don't know, Tommy Robinson on or someone like that, would you go and have a go at BBC News or the journalist? No.
There's someone out there who likes that person, who respects their views.
It's a different view, like
that's it. It's opinion based.
And even if I'm just like, it doesn't mean I'm agreeing with
anything,
if I'm like,
you're a better person for sitting in front of him. You don't agree, but you're a better person for sitting there and having the conversation face to face. Because you could have just been like, don't agree, fuck off, not interested.
In all honesty, like, he's a good lad. What harm is he bringing to his views? If I had a serial paedophile on my thing who was going to do something after the show, I totally understand that.
That's a different ball game, isn't it?
Harming, it's bringing harm. But what harm is he doing? He's got views. People have had anti-vaccine views for like 50 years.
Exactly, anti-vaxxers since the 50s and everything. Yeah,
just like
it's berserk, isn't it?
Honestly, social media is taken too seriously. Yeah,
it's daft. It's daft. It does me head in, and that's the thing. Like, I came off social media for so long, and then with the podcast, and that obviously I've got to be back on. I've got to promote and all that. Yeah. And there's so much stuff I see, and I just think I'm not interested in this whatsoever. Like,
I'm shocked about that Minerva. Those
Jamie and Jack.
Who one sad enough to make a fake profile and then say mental health is what, fake or negative or?
So they were commenting on people's mental health and stuff, saying there were jokes and all that, and then commenting on his girlfriend and just being really negative and offensive and all that.
What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. No one has the right to do that. But
the only people that really do that, they must be so miserable.
Because they said at first we thought it was like a bot, but they said it was so personal. Like, a bot couldn't be that personal.
It's probably someone that.
It's jealousy.
Really miserable. Yeah,
jealousy and miserable. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's madness. So with being a sports doctor, then I want to touch on the doping world. What goes on in sports with doping? Is it rife? Is it rare? What's going on? Is it?
Right, yeah. So Football and rugby, not so much. Like, I never saw it in football.
Yeah.
I mean, because the women like stuff, and a lot of them, they are sort of drug tested after the games regularly. I mean, I didn't see it in football, but
does the ruling change through sport, or is it just one rule?
So how it works is, because I was actually speaking to one of the drug testers at the Lawrence O'Cauley fight, because they have to follow the Fowler around in the boxes. So I was like, how do you? So there's piss testing and then there's blood testing.
Yeah.
So now it's all piss testing. So they'll be piss tested after they fight, but with a urine test,
you can hide things, can you? Know?
Yeah. So it only if you were to take. I'm not going to say you are, but if you're going to take some recreational drugs now, it'll only be in your system for 72 hours. It'll be, so say you've taken it 5-6 days ago, it's not going to come out in your wee.
Yeah.
So that urine test is basically only, so say the urine test on the Saturday fight night, that's to see if they've taken anything on the Thursday, Friday and Saturday.
But in their camp, they could have been taking stuff 3 months ago.
Of course they can, yeah.
Why have they changed it from bloods then, is it?
Basically, so it's because of COVID. They've just done urine testing. So I was just like, when do you guys do blood testing? This is from the UK anti-doping. And he was like, that he was basically trying to say it's for the very, very big money fights. So say Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, their promoters will arrange to pay. They'll have to pay for this separately for random blood testing, Olympic style blood testing. So those people will go to Anthony or Tyson's house at random hours and take blood testing of them anytime in that training camp, if that makes sense. However, I remember I interviewed this guy on my podcast, Larry Alabamiwi, who actually got found with 13 different substances. He was a British heavyweight at 2010. He was like, there's ways around it. They can't turn up to your house between the hours of 11 p.m. and 7 in the morning. So you could take a fast-acting testosterone or something which flushes out your system, and then none the wiser. And then it's none the wiser. It's out of your system by 7-8 in the morning. You could take it at sort of 9-10 p.m. and it'll be out your system. However, nowadays I think the only way people get caught are, especially with the piss testing stuff, is if they're stupid enough to take something 3 days before a piss test, or if someone grasses them up and they get investigated further, or if they're buying it because a lot of them won't have. They'll be getting this stuff off their bodybuilder mate or an online clinic or a legal clinic. So if that clinic gets busted, when they get busted, they'll look at the list of the people and then they'll have to contact you can't do doping, you can't do doping or contact, but. It's so rife, and it's so rife.
Because I had Conor Page on, who's a bodybuilder, and he said it happens. Like even when they're competing, bodybuilders will take that up. Professional bodybuilders take it all the time.
And even like it's not. It doesn't have to be in that 8-week training camp. They can still take it out of camp. They can. There's different forms of different substances and stuff, and it's not only in boxing and MMA, mate. Sprinting. Cycling.
What was that? Because there was Lance Armstrong. Obviously,
he was a drug dealer. He was pretty much a drug dealer.
Exactly.
To his team, like
fucking mad.
Just like,
but the thing is, like, as a doctor, does it give them much of an edge, or is it more of a placebo? Do they think that they're getting an advantage, or is it physical gains, like scientifically proven physical gains?
So. It's a tough one, to be honest. So there's different forms of different stuff. So there's testosterone replacement. So if you go and get your testosterone levels measured as a boxer, if you're cutting weight, if you're really trying to lose weight and you're training hard, there'll be times in the day where your testosterone is low, and there'll be times where it's high because it dips in and down. So you could take some testosterone and it will basically. It can, so there's different I mean, there's substances. There's one called EPO, which is basically you inject it 3 times a week, and it gives you more energy. And it gives you more energy because that's what a lot of the cyclists are on. So it'll give you it'll generate more red blood cells. So that means you're carrying more oxygen. Because I know people that have said they've taken it, they feel like they energize their body basically. So that's one. That'll be for stuff like cyclists and some of the lower class boxers, the lighter boxers. Then you've got growth hormones, which is the actual injectable steroids, basically. A lot of the bodybuilders take. They will be for the heavier ones who, and what it does is it doesn't make you a stronger thing. It basically, because a lot of these combat athletes, they train 5-6 days a week, 2-3 times a day.
Well, that's the thing. They're at their peak of their physical ability.
Exactly, but
so they want that extra edge. That's why they're going into it.
So it's not more the edge, it's more the recovery. So an average person, so if we were training 6 days a week, twice a day, our bodies are going to crash at some point.
Yeah.
We're just going to be like sore, stiff. So it basically helps the muscles recover faster. So you can faster, you can, you know, keep going, keep back to it and stuff like that. But there's a lot of fighters that it's not as straightforward as looking at someone's body and being like, they're ripped, they're on it. Like, you'll be surprised looking at someone's body. You'll be surprised at some of the people, the physiques, and you think, the stuff I've heard that they've been taking. Do you understand what I'm saying?
But some people, body types are different. Have you ever seen anyone fail at doping in person?
No, I've never seen that. I'm always quite like, for the boxers that I've worked for, I always say, listen, if there's anything, supplements you're taking, anything you're taking, run it through with your nutritionist, and if your nutritionist is unsure, just get in touch with me. You know, because they have to be so fucking careful. Like anything nasal sprays, Lemsip, a lot of stuff can fail. But again, with I think it's in the final few days of the fight, they have to be careful. But
the thing is, you can fail for like a nasal spray, but then once you've been investigated and it's proven, you're clear, are you?
It's that, but it's more.
You've tarnished,
especially in sports, drugs in sports, it's guilty until proven innocent, and you will always be guilty. Like, remember Billy Joe Saunders failed for a nasal spray, and to this day, still people are calling him a drug cheat because people will say, "Well, was he masking something? Was he taking something else?" And you never know. And what I'm trying to say, not so much at British level, because I don't think they have the connections and stuff. But when you're getting to world level, and they have doctors working for you, you know, other people, you know, doping is rife. Any form of doping is rife, and I'm talking not even from injectable steroids. It could be IV fluids. It could be anything. It could be anything, any performance enhancing drug. It's rife. Like stuff about Canelo and it's so. And another thing is, this is how athletes get around it as well.
Didn't he blame it on his meat?
Yeah.
It's barbecue, not have been having.
Need that meat in Tesco, mate. But that's the thing, like, it's easy to get around it. So say, I remember when he was supposed to fight, Anthony Joshua was supposed to fight Jarrell, Big Baby Miller. And Big Baby Miller was like, you're taking testosterone, you get TUEs. So a TUE is a therapeutic use of exemption. That's like an exemption form so they can take the stuff. And how that works is, I'm not saying that, basically, like I said, a boxer will go to his doctor and be like, listen, I want some bloods. Like, they'll come to me, I'll be like, before they start camp, they'll be like, I want a set of bloods done. My nutritionist has sent me here, they want these bloods done. Because I remember I was working with another boxer in his voice fighting a list of bloods. And like I said, this testosterone level, say, for example, your testosterone is going to be highest in the morning. Okay. If you haven't trained a few days previously, your body's fully recovered. Whereas a lot of boxers, if they're heavy in training, say they've had that second session a day, they're tired, they're just depleted, they're cutting weight. The normal level of testosterone could be between 10 and 30. Sometimes boxers have come to me with like levels of 4. There was an MMA fighter I know that had a level of 1.
That's massively down.
And it's down, and it's like, and it will come back up. But what I'm trying to say is, if they wanted to take testosterone replacement, which they can do, they would be like, well, I'd like to start taking it. Can you, as my doctor, use this blood test result and write to the UK anti-doping and say this is my exemption? It's really straightforward. All I have to do is fill in a form.
It's done.
Attach the blood test results, and they're like, okay. They won't question the doctor. Like, okay, as long as they've got a blood test result. Even if they don't have a blood test result, if you can justify why they need the thing, like they're suffering with low libido, even though the levels are normal, they will listen to the doctor. Does that make sense? So, whereas we've seen, you know, when the fighters go to America, for example, fight in America, I'm not saying anything, but the standard and procedures are different there. So they're not as lenient there. Does that make sense?
It's for stricter.
So, you know, when the New York, so.
Heavy? When they do get caught, and obviously, as you said, you know, tarnished, then people are like, you're guilty no matter what. Does it have a knock-on effect on the mental state?
Yeah, I mean, I've never dealt with anyone who's failed a drug test, but I can imagine. So, like, remember the sprinters over the year, like Dwayne Chambers?
That's the one I was thinking about before, yeah.
Chambers, but I knew a doctor. I worked with a doctor that worked with Chambers, Dwayne Chambers, back in his heyday, and she was saying he just wasn't a very nice person.
Really?
A lot of yes men around him. And he was just not a very pleasant, arrogant, very pleasant person. I never really thought I was more of like a Michael Johnson fan and stuff. But I don't. But that's the thing, when you've got a lot of yes men around you, these people, it doesn't help. But it can. Of course, it can. I mean, imagine you're not allowed to fight, and then that's your source of income and stuff gone.
Exactly.
Like that. But
it's taken away from you then, isn't it?
But I just don't understand. Like, again, Jarrell Miller, when he failed another drug test, you think, well, is this verging on the thing of a problem? Like, are you?
Exactly. Yeah. Is he now dependent on it?
Now dependent on it and stuff like that, and you can become.
Well, people get addicted to prescription drugs, don't they? And
prescription drugs are bad. Prescription drugs are bad. Yeah. But even testosterone, coming off testosterone is hard because you reach a level, if you're injecting testosterone, it's like once a week, or you can use it in gels. If you stop your levels, you've been used to levels this high, they've basically gone back down to normal. But normal for you feels really low. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you'll feel depressed, struggle with libido and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So abuse of anything, and prescription painkillers there.
It's scatty, isn't it?
Because I work in a quite a deprived area in Wallasey.
Yeah.
And it's a big problem there.
Is it?
Cocodamol, tramadol.
Because I know it's massive in the States, but I did never think it was like huge here. But as of late, it's becoming more and more apparent that it is.
Oh, definitely. Like, there, it's very, very strong stuff. Because in America, you've got paracetamol and ibuprofen, but then you don't have tramadol.
And all that.
Yeah, so you don't have any of the middle stuff. You don't have any codeine or tramadol. You go straight to oxycodone.
Yeah, it's like that or that.
Yeah, so basically, if you go into hospital and you, God forbid, hurt your arm, you'll be given some codeine
and morphine if it's really bad.
Yeah, but you'll be sent home on codeine. These lot are sent home on oxycodone, and oxycodone in this country is given to cancer patients who are dying.
Listen, in hospital, it's controlled by the medical staff.
Exactly.
Giving it in a box and going home with it, it's a dangerous game to play.
And I often say, especially with these drugs like, codeine, cocodamol has codeine, and paracetamol, tramadol. Taking for a week or two is fine. After a week or two, you might have an upset stomach because it constipates you. But if you're taking it month after month after month, your body becomes dependent on it. Yeah. So if you abruptly stop,
you're gonna crash.
The withdrawals, withdrawals are horrible. Like,
it's scary. It's just like being a drug addict, isn't it? It's cold turkey, and then
because it's essentially, when they say heroin is the same as diamorphine.
Yeah.
So you've got a ladder of drugs to.
What's the strongest you can get in the UK off the doctors?
In the GP or in a hospital?
Hospital.
They can do IV morphine for you.
Really?
Which is heroin.
Yeah. Wow.
Heroin,
How strong's Oromorph liquid form?
So Oromorph basically. So Oromorph is pretty strong. I've never. So
I know people who are prescribed Oromorph.
Yeah.
They just drink it out the bottle.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that's heavy.
That's when it's abuse. That's when it's abuse. I as a GP will never ever start anyone on liquid morphine.
Yeah,
it will have
dangerous to be games to play in it
because it has to be, and you can tell because when people request their repeat prescriptions and stuff. You can tell
you should have used that by now.
I play a numbers game, so I was like, all right, I gave you 200 mils 5 days ago.
Yeah,
why have you used 200 mils in 5 days? Like, a lot of them, and it's
dependent. So, what's the rule in there? Then are you within your right to be like, I'm not giving you it now, or have you just got to go, you're in pain, I need to prescribe it?
It's a tough one. It's a tough one because I will. Because if I reject it and they truly need it, they're gonna feel. If it's that. It's a really tough one because they will have other painkillers there to keep the opiate because it's an opiate that keep everything going. But I may sort of telephone them and be like, "Listen, you've used 5 days and 200 mils. What's going on?" And they'll be like, the typical excuses like, "Oh, my bottle got stolen, bottle smashed, something's happened."
But a lot of people also get their strong prescription medicine and then hand them out to the people or sell them on, and that's why.
It's in the area like. I found this out. people can buy tramadol, liquid morphine tablets. It's also even like, this is how cruel it is. This is sick, like, to me. So parents, will try push for their child to have an ADHD diagnosis. Push and push and push and push. They get one, and then they'll get the medication, methylphenidate, which is like Ritalin. It's Ritalin. Yeah. Start selling it on. Yeah. How sick is that?
My missus, she's a special needs teacher.
Oh, okay.
And
you said
in
what's it called?
Hayfield. Yeah.
I know
So she talks about ADHD children and parents and stuff, the way they push and push for diagnosis and stuff, and there's reasons why.
Yeah, it's like with ADHD basically. And a lot of people don't know this. The referral won't come from the doctor; it'll come from school.
Yeah.
Because the school need to have an assessment of the kid at home, and then you need an assessment at school as well. So often they're good as gold at school, but they're naughty at home. Yeah. They can't. That's not ADHD. ADHD is 3 symptoms. It's inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. If they're good as gold at school and they're not trashing around the school place,
they're fully aware of what they're doing. It's behavioural.
Yeah.
I know sort of the ins and outs, because my middle child, he's diagnosed autistic.
Yeah, my cousin's autistic as well.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, she's 14 now. So, is he a boy or girl?
He's a boy. He's 7. He's not severe.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, because we got the diagnosis, and a lot of people are sort of like judgy. Then they're like, "Oh, you forced a diagnosis." I'm like, "I haven't. I knew my child. I knew he was a little bit different, but he's fine. He's come on leaps and bounds as well.
That's good, man.
But he's like Rain Man. Because like there's some famous people, like Richard Branson's autistic, isn't he?
Very,
he is unbelievable. And it's my daughter hates it. My daughter's 11. And like he does all her maths homework for her and corrects it, and she's like, I can't stand this.
Mate, it's good that he's good, because I found it's easier for girls who are autistic to proceed than men, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I didn't know Branson was autistic.
Apparently, I might be referencing that wrong. But
spectrum maybe.
Because when I was talking about him being so bright and stuff, someone was saying to me, I was like, Richard Branson. Have you met him?
He comes across as being really nice. Yeah.
Like that. He was in Arsenal the other day, just like landed his plane in my back garden.
He could be another Prince Andrew.
Just leave that there. So now that we've touched on mental health, I want to sort of go in a bit more depth, if that's okay.
Yeah,
so, as a GP, do you have many patients come in with mental health issues?
Yeah, of course.
Lots.
So say I'll see 30 patients in a day.
Yeah.
In the area I work in the day, maybe there'll be about like 8-9 of them out of 30.
And are they coming in with the issues, or are you reading signs?
Am I watching?
Reading signs, and you go...
They're usually coming in, but I can tell. It's all interlinked. Like, it's all... Like, if they're suffering with arthritis, pain in their knees, this ongoing, long-standing pain and stuff like that, they're going to have an element of depression there, because it's limiting their day-to-day life, their day-to-day activities.
100%.
But it's difficult, because our appointments are only 10 minutes long, so...
It's hard.
I often say, when they come in with 10 problems, 5 problems, I was like, listen, I can't safely deal with this more than one issue today. I can physically go bounce, but it's just not safe for me.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, depression, anxiety, PTSD.
Yeah.
It's
the thing is as well, going back to you saying you've only got a 10-minute slot.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing for someone to open up, and if they're willing to open up in that 10 minutes, and then you've got to go, your time's done, that can have the adverse effect, and they just go back into the shell then, and they're not willing to come back.
So of course, in situations like that, you have to almost steer it. So I wouldn't shut them down at 10 minutes. Yeah. It's difficult. It's one of those. So the women will come in and you can see their thing, and then they'll say it, and they'll just burst down into tears. Whereas the men, they'll come in and they'll be looking very uncomfortable. Yeah. Like, you'll see them, and then you'll get out of them. And then there's questions as a doctor. I can sit there and I can talk about the life issues, which I'd love to do, but there's questions we have to ask to make sure they're not. Yeah.
Sorry, dead quick. So I'm now a mental health first aider in work. Yeah. And on my training, that's what I was surprised with. They were saying you should ask these questions to trigger, and the questions are really out there. Like they said, if you see someone or they've mentioned suicidal tendencies, you should then say, how are you planning to do it? When are you planning to do it? Prompt it. And I was like, you really ask someone that? And they're like, it's the only way that they're going to open up. It's scary,
Of course, man, of course. So that's the thing. So often I'll be like, how long's it gone on for? If they're like, it's gone on for 3 days. I broke up with my girlfriend 3 days ago. I was like, that's not really. Depression is any symptoms we've got low mood persistent for longer than 2 weeks. Yeah. So how long has it gone on for? How's it affecting you? Is it affecting your sleep and appetite? A big thing is, are you struggling to do things you normally enjoy? Yeah. If they're like, oh, I'm a bit low, but I can still play football and do that, I was like, it's not severe. And then, the big, it's what we call the red flag is, I'm sorry, I'm sorry to ask this. I'll say this, I'm sorry to ask this, but have you had any thoughts about harming yourself or other people? Yeah. And they'd be like, yeah, I have. And then you'd be like, well, how have their thoughts come about? Do you feel like that now? If they feel like that now, you've got to act upon it, get them to A&E or get someone to see them.
Safeguarding, isn't it?
Yeah. So then, and then you also, again, if they're like this, if they're talking about suicide, you've got to ask them, is there anything there that stops you? So as soon as you say that, they'll mention their kid, and then that's when they'll start crying. Yeah. And then I know they truly don't.
It's an in then, isn't it?
They truly don't want to do it because that's what's stopping them. Yeah. If they're like, a lot of them would be like, no, I just can't do that to them. I can't do this to them. I can't do that to my dog or someone like that. It's sort of...
as much as it's not nice, they're not there. Yeah. They're not down the road,
That's it. But it's the ones that are by themselves, have nothing there, and they're like, I've got everything planned. Yeah. And then a lot of stuff, and then you've got to find out if there's any alcohol or drugs involved and stuff like that. It's hard, man, it's hard. And then, the big thing is like, I often say, and I've said this on my own stories as well, yes, there's antidepressants, and antidepressants might make the bad days not so bad, but that 90% of your improvement, 96 is going to be through counselling.
Talking. It's the biggest thing in the world. 100%.
I just feel a lot of people don't want to give it a chance.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we'll talk a bit more on therapy in a minute, but one thing I wanted to mention then is part of my training, the main thing the teacher is being non-judgmental. Yeah. Now, it's hard because I pride myself thinking I can read people quite well, and as a GP, you must be able to read people quite well. Yeah. And I've suffered with mental health. I had clinical depression, anxiety. Me dad committed suicide when I was 5. And like, no, it's fine, man. And like, I've dealt with it, and I had a breakdown myself a few years ago. And when I come on the back, out on top of it, I was like, talking was the most powerful thing I could have done. And that's what made me get into the mental health first day. Because I'm an engineer. I couldn't change career, but this came up and worked. He wanted to sort of start promoting well-being, so I jumped at it. And when I'm sat in a room and someone's talking to me, and I'm like, okay, I can't be judgmental here, but I know you're playing boy cry wolf because he's on a final stage warning and he's trying to play the mental health card. And I'm like, the inner me, the human, wants to be like, stop fucking talking crap, will you? But you can't, because that one time when you do say it and they are genuine, do you ever find that difficult where you're
very,
like...
Very, very, very good question. So in my area, there's a lot of people requesting sick note after sick note, month after month after month after month after month. And I often say to them straight, because it's difficult on the telephone, I'll be like, listen, Mr. So-and-so, do you have any plans to get back to work? Yeah. No. They're like, and if they're like, no, then they're not really genuine. They're just, they're playing the system and they know that you can't refuse it. Yeah. If they're like, I really enjoyed my job, but I'm just really struggling at the moment. I'm really, they're genuine, but I've had people, and it's weird, man. It's like the sick notes, those people only, they seem to be the age like 45 to 55. Yeah. I don't know why.
Yeah. Strange.
That age. It's not 32, 31, 26.
They've had a long working life and they're just fed up now and they're like, I'm getting closer to retirement and they're just like, I'm done.
I mean, there's one that I had when he was 22, but I think it was he had a long-standing thing. Yeah. But they're just like... And I think with mental health, it's like, it's routine. A big thing is routine. Going to work, going somewhere, going to the gym, doing some sort of routine. It's like... And I'm sure, you speak to experience when there have been times when you've broken down, it's, when you stayed in bed and you just gone completely flat and that's made it worse. But Especially, not so much when they come to you for the first time and they're really in thing, but when they're coming for sick notes after sick note after sick note.
Yeah, it's just the system they're playing. It's like, tough, innit?
Yeah, I can't say, you can't.
Because even though you're a GP, you're a human at the end of the day, and you're like, stop taking the piss.
And Gary, that's the thing I realise. I've said this to someone. I can refuse to give you morphine. I can refuse to give you these strong painkillers. I can refuse to give you sleeping tablets. No one will kick off at me because I'll say, listen, it's not safe. It's my registration number on the line. But when you refuse to give someone a sick note, even if they deserve it or not, they will create hell on fire because you're essentially cutting their money off. You're cutting their money off because they know with those other drugs
that hurts them.
That with the other drugs they can get it somewhere else. They'll find a way to get it from somewhere else. But I know this sounds really bad, but I just pick my battles with sick notes. Like I don't.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
It's not worth it because they'll kick and scream, they'll complain.
And that one patient is one out of thousands of patients you're going to see potentially.
Exactly.
You can't put your livelihood on the line.
Exactly.
Because they will make it healthier.
And especially with the sick note as well, nothing can come back to you because I think eventually if they apply for PIP, which is personal independence allowance, they have to be assessed. They need a private letter, and we can say the letter.
Them assessments are insane as well. Yeah, I know someone who works in that sort of industry, and they said like they go through everything with a fine tooth comb and everything. And it's crazy.
Giving the government's money to them, like
exactly,
like how much money a week or whatever. But sick notes, I just don't argue with anymore because, like I said, people, a lot of people will be genuinely some mental health, but you how did you used to tell them work? Like when you were in work, how could you, when you were like, could you tell how would your work?
So it's again, I feel like I can read people quite well, and it's just when they're talking about things, and the people who aren't genuine are the ones who, my opinion, is when they throw suicide out straight away like that. So when I try, because I'm not trained to diagnose or anything. As a mental health first aider, I've got to listen. Yeah. I've got to pick up on signs. I've then got I've got a list of sort of sources where I can direct them to. So if I go, okay, I feel like you're going in this direction, do you want to go and talk to these people? And I've just got to sort of guide them. That's all I can do. And the ones who are reluctant to speak, so in work, I can either see a sign or someone will say to me, I think he's having a hard time, or someone will come to you. We have drop-in sessions where they'll come in and we have a room for like the full day and they can just pop in if they've got issues. And the ones who struggle to talk and it's like getting blood out of a stone, they're the genuine ones. When you get a lad coming in going, all right, mate, I tried to kill myself the other day, and I'm like...
There's no twitching,
there's nothing there yet, they're just straight, and I'm like, and it seems rehearsed sometimes, and I'm like, and... As someone who lost my dad to suicide and he's just throwing it, I feel insulted, but I'm like, but I've got into this for a reason. I can't then throw that back in your face. And I'm like, okay, and I know you're in it for the wrong reasons. You're scared you're going to lose your job. You want to play the mental health card now. And I'm like, okay. And I've got to sit there and talk to him for the hour, 2 hours, however long they're in the room with me for. And it's hard because...
They almost give really... rehearsed symptoms as well.
Yeah, and that's it's literally as if they've had Google up for the past 10 minutes before they've walked in.
I feel really low. I have lost sleep, like,
and you're like, you're a robot here now. And I'm like, oh, okay, so yeah. And then I come out of the room and like HR is like, is everything okay? And I'm like, it's confidential. But I'm like, yeah, like he's fucking sound. Do you know what I mean? It's hard graft, like, but so the power of talking, I fully think it's the best thing for anybody to do. So when I went through my sort of breakdown,
definitely,
and again, it's underfunded, underutilized within the sort of NHS. Where we have some sort of private therapy sessions. So we were allowed 6, and 6 wasn't a lot. I've got quite a deep past of mental issues, so I literally only touch the surface, scratch the surface, and then I went through the NHS. And they were like, oh,
talking together,
group. So it was like in a group with like 12 other people up in Garston it was. And it's like St Andrew's Centre it was. And there's someone at the front and there's 12 of us in the room all trying to get like counselling.
Right.
And I was like, okay, this isn't working for me because I had 3 drug addicts over there, an alcoholic there. Everyone's got issues, but they were fighting for the attention. Oh, this is my problem, this is me. And I was like, that's working for you, but I just want to have a one-on-one conversation and deal with my problems.
Did you not get any one-on-one? Did they offer
didn't get any one-on-one off the NHS, no. I got off of group sessions. I've done like 12 group sessions, and then I went private for a while.
Is that when you notice the difference?
Massively.
Yeah, 100%.
Massively.
100%,
But that just talking about it was like a huge weight lifted. And I couldn't recommend it more to anyone. Do you know what I mean? It's huge.
Definitely.
Now, I know you've been suffering yourself.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So that was a lot. That was a long journey. Like I was, because I always said when I wanted to get better, I wanted to use my platform to inspire people and just talk about it. Because especially like as a male GP coming from an Asian community as well, in my eyes, those three issues are taboo.
Yeah.
Like being a man talking about mental health issues, I'm sure you both can agree. You're too scared to do it. And then a healthcare professional and then even worse, coming from the Asian community as well. Not my own family, my family been brilliant.
No, it's the wider community.
It's the wider community. And I can almost relate to, and he was a big inspiration, Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury, again, from a traveller community, I know for a fact that
it's frowned upon, innit?
It's almost, if it's a taboo in the Asian community, it's almost frowned upon. Then because they're fighting men, they're very, so it's almost seen as a weakness. And I remember hearing, talking about that at the time, his dad and his brother were the only ones there for him, and he felt it was a taboo in his thing. And so for me, it went on like, not going to get into the nitty gritty of it because at the moment there's some legal. I'll talk.
Yeah. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Stuff at the moment. So at the time, it was just, I think it was the environment I was living in. It was a very sort of toxic abuse. The toxic sort of environment, and it just. And it went on, and then obviously the fact lockdown didn't happened as well.
Yeah.
So I think from like April, May,
spiraled.
It sort of started. It like triggered, and I was doing everything to distract myself. Like I started my podcast then, May 2020. I was just going into work, and it was sort of spiraling. And then before you know it, I was struggling to sleep at night. Then because I'm struggling to sleep at night,
it's affecting your work.
Yeah, I started taking stuff to help me get to sleep. Stuff that I was using for a previous, codeine I was previously using for a back injury, for example. And then before you know it, you're taking that to get to sleep. You're falling asleep at 3, 4 a.m. because you can't fall asleep. You have to be up at 8. You're getting in and you're just like a zombie, basically. Yeah. You can't sleep. Then the lack of sleep will affect everything else.
Yeah.
On the weekends, you haven't slept in the weeks. You binge sleep on the week. Your eating habits as well.
Yeah.
Some people will undereat. I was just
overeating.
Comfort eating because you're just miserable.
I was the same.
Yeah, comfort eating because you're miserable. Yeah, you might go to the gym just there, but your head's not there. And then it's affecting everything. And then, like as a man, you just like, and then at that time, when it first started, I was in my final year of training.
Okay.
So I qualified fully as a GP in August.
Okay.
So I didn't want to tell anyone professionally because I thought this might hinder me.
Yeah.
And the same when people weren't doing what they do because they think it might hinder their job. You don't want to tell your family.
They're scared, yeah.
And if, for example, without getting into the nitty-gritty, you might tell your problems to one person who's around you, and if you get a negative response or an unsupportive response from them, you think, I've got that response from someone that's
is meant to be close to me and be there for me. I can relate 100%.
Right. So I got that response. So how am I going to tell my mum and my dad and my sister and my brother who I'm really close with or anyone else? I'm going to keep this hidden in me. I keep it hidden in me. It gets worse. The stuff to help me get to sleep, worse. And then
you lose control then.
I lost control. Like I remember there was like between fucking October, November, but for the period of the month, I just don't remember anything. Just because I was just that period of time, I was barely getting any sleep. And I remember the time when it come to the point where I had my breakdown. Was I remember Monday the 25th of January. I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty, but a few days before I had a difficult conversation with something happened. A triggering point happened. 2 days before. At the time, like all my mum works in Abu Dhabi and my dad works there. We're still together, so but obviously before COVID, we'd go out and see her regularly. So at the time, all my family were out in Abu Dhabi at the time. My mum, my dad, my brother, my sister, and I was home alone. So this incident had happened on the Saturday. I remember I drove home back to my family. I felt so low, And I remember just like, you know what, I just feel like, you know, because the thing when you get mental health issues and stuff like that, the thoughts in your head, they're a lie. Yeah. They're a lie. Like, it's not the fact that you're this or that and no one cares about you, but they're in your head at the moment. And I remember I turned my phone on airplane mode on the Sunday. I was just like, fuck this, I can't be arsed. And I was just contemplating. And then on the Monday, I was just like, you know, I woke up really late. I woke up at like 2 in the afternoon. I was like, oh, this is the day I'm going to do it. So obviously my phone was on airplane mode, and obviously no one was reaching me. And I remember at the time I woke up and I was all right, I'm going to go write this note. And I had it all planned out what I was going to do. I was going to take this big 56 tablets of 60 milligrams of codeine. Like, I planned it out medically. Wow. Like, you know, like from a doctor's point of view, I knew what you need to do as a professional. You know what I needed to do. It was clinical. I was going to write this note. So I remember I woke up and I was just like, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to fucking do this. So I remember I sort of woke up out of bed, and then I got like, I was so fucking out. Those 3 days I was so out of it. I remember I got a knock on my door. I was just like, I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm home alone, but who the fuck is that? And I couldn't even get, it was a robber, I didn't even give a fuck. I didn't really care. And I forgot our cleaner was in the house at the time. Shit. She was like, oh, Usman. I was like, what the fuck does she want? I was like, yeah. I was like, your mum's on the phone. I was like, what? I was like, what? Yeah. So I opened the door and just gave me I remember my phone had been on airplane mode for the last 2 days. So from this incident that happened 2-3 days previously, my mum and dad had caught wind of what had happened. Yeah. So she was like, Usman, I sounded really frantic. It's like, Usman, are you okay? Are you okay? What's going on? And I was like, you know, I just lied. I was like, I've just woke up from a nap. I hadn't done anything at this point. I was like, listen, don't worry. Your dad's flying home tomorrow. He was supposed to come home in like a few weeks. Yeah. Your dad's flying home tomorrow. It'll be all right. I didn't say anything to her. I got off the phone and I was like, as soon as I heard my mum's voice, I was like,
but the thing is,
I can't fucking do this to them. I can't do this to my brother.
You didn't have to say anything, but they knew something was wrong.
What's even more chilling is, so this was January the 25th. I remember.
Me like he's going to go. That's what it is. That's what the beefing is.
I remember, this is the chilling story, and I think about it to this day, like, whether this was mum's premonition. December the 16th, so about 6 weeks previously, because she works in Abu Dhabi, so it's about 4 hours ahead. Yeah. And again, it was one of those nights every night that I couldn't sleep. So I was up at like 3 a.m. just playing on my phone. And my mum calls me. It was 7 a.m. at that point in Abu Dhabi. And she calls me. She's in tears. I was like, Mum, are you okay? And in the time I was next to, you know, my ex, you know, wife at the time in bed at the time. And she calls and she's like in tears. I was like, Mum, is everything all right? And she's like, are you okay? Are you okay? This is December the 16th. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just about to go to sleep. And she's like, I had a really bad dream. I was like, what happened? Wow. And she was like, you were sort of, you were 15 years old again. And I was trying to wake you up for school and you couldn't wake up. And I was trying to wake you up and you just couldn't wake up. And I just tried to calm her down. Like, I was just like, don't worry, it's probably me just being lazy, not wanting to go to school and shit. Way. And when I got off the phone for her on when she called me, you know, on the January the 25th, that was the first thing I thought of in my head, like
a phone call,
that dream that she had, like,
that is crazy,
6 weeks later. So I was just like, fucking, like, yeah, it was just that. And then when I got off the call, I was just like, you know what? I need to get help here. Like, I need to fucking get help. Like, and
but it was good that you got to that point and recognised it.
Yeah, it was like it's like everything around that time. You know, it wasn't. Yeah, it was. And then, you know, getting my sleep back to normal, getting my mental health and stuff like that. And yeah, it was. I mean, and then from then on in, I remember I got help through sort of practitioner, this NHS practitioner help. Yeah, at that point, I was just like, you know what, I need to fucking get some help. And all that time, like, I often say to it, it's like I was hiding behind the tears of a clown.
Yeah, I've seen you mention that before.
And that saying has always stuck with me. Like, clowns are in the circus to entertain people, to make people feel better, to make people laugh. Yeah, they're often, you know. Yeah, there we go. The Joker. You know, they're living a life of misery at the time. And that's how I felt when I was going into work, when I was suffering with my mental health, you know, with the lack of sleep and my mood and, just my deteriorating health. I was like, I'm listening to these patient stories.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you. So, as a GP, as a medical professional, you've got to sit there 9 patients in a day talking about their mental health.
Yeah.
As a GP, do you have any sort of service that allows you to debrief and let that off your chest? Because that's a lot to take in. Yeah. Like, you see mental health issues 1,000 times more than I ever will. Yeah. And in work, I've found myself taking someone's story home, not sleeping at night because I'm thinking about what they're going to do to themselves and stuff. And I struggle. That's a burden on me. Yeah. So now we sort of, as mental health first aiders, we sit down and we just talk about what we've gone through, and it's just a bit of a release for us. Yeah. Do you have any service like that, or have you just got to absorb it all because you're a professional? You've just got to get on with it.
Well, some practices you can obviously. There's some GP where you can go and talk to your colleagues, next door. There's always someone like a nurse or someone, someone that can talk to. But in terms of mental health issues, if you're really struggling, this NHS practitioner thing that I got my help from. It's like for all doctors, nurses, dentists, that's really good because you can apply online, you fill a questionnaire out, and they get back to you within like a few days, 3 days about an appointment, an initial appointment with the doctor. But that was the biggest thing with anything mental health, depression, anxiety, addiction, dependency, anything like that. Firstly, it's accepting that you have an issue in the first place, especially as a man. You think, no, I don't have an issue. No, it's not. It's swept under the carpet. And then, like I said, I think the biggest thing with the men is if you're around someone that you think that you want to share the problem with, and you feel that you're not getting that, you keep, and then you don't get the that love and thing. You keep it in you.
Yeah,
and you're like,
it has the opposite effect. Yeah, you're ready to open up and you're ready to talk.
Yeah, and then when
you get shot down by someone you had sort of trust and faith in.
Exactly, or you get a comment. It might be that bad comment that will stick by you and think, you know what, or even the way someone speaks to you, and you just think, I'm not going to fucking tell anyone else. And that's the biggest thing with me. My family were like, Mum and Dad, and like I told my friend, they were like, why didn't you tell anything sooner? It's like, that's the thing with mental health. It's
always in hindsight though, isn't it?
Always in hindsight. And that's the thing, always in hindsight. My mum were like, why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you tell us you were going through all of this?
Well, part of your mental health struggles is you don't want to be a burden on your family as well.
Yeah, that's it. And I think it's like, as a bloke as well, it's like that pride, you're supposed to be this strong provider and stuff like that. But the biggest thing for me is, especially now, and me want to spread awareness about it and be like, talking about it now, I don't give a fuck. Like, if someone wants to call me weak or whatever, then no one's going to do it. I don't give a fuck.
You're not weak.
Think Tyson Fury said it best. If mental health can bring the world heavyweight champion to his knees, it can do anything to anyone. Do you understand what I'm saying?
100%. 100%.
And that's the thing, like, it's just, I don't get, I still do not understand.
But it's sad that it takes someone like Tyson Fury to speak out about it for it to become okay and the norm.
Yeah.
Like, it's still within the 21st century, and still men can't talk about it like Definitely. You need to.
And do you remember in the 90s where Frank Bruno had his problems with bipolar? All the newspapers are calling him Looney Bruno and Loon, like, you can't do that. You can't. Imagine doing that now. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
it's scary.
And it was almost seen like having a mental breakdown was something to see as quite shameful. But there are, like, that's the thing. There are still.
But that's the thing with mental illnesses across the board. Like, it was only a few years ago where people were saying your child's autistic because of the parents, the way they're treating them and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. That's just like it's not. It's. The autistic, it has nothing. It's a developmental delay. Like, how do parents? I've always said this. Parents from your kids are autistic. My cousins, I've known. It has nothing to do. It's their developmental delay. Developmental delay can happen, genetically or whatever. It has nothing to do with behaviour. Like, okay, if your kid was a naughty kid, that's different. But a little shit.
Yeah, a little shit. But autism. It has nothing to do with parenting, absolutely nothing. Like, so there's just a lot of misconceptions, and I think it's a difficult one with mental health. Like, it's one of those things. Like, it's not just mental. Like, it'll affect everything physically.
Yes.
Everything physically, mate. Like, so a lot of stuff. Like fibromyalgia, pains. you know, affecting your sleep, your appetite, everything. Your performance at work. And honestly, the mind is stronger than, you know, the mind is stronger than the body, sort of thing. You know,
it's powerfulest tool in the world,
definitely,
isn't it?
Definitely,
do you know what, right? I don't know you too well. I've spoken to you a couple of times on Instagram, but I just want to take this opportunity to say that I'm really proud of you, mate, for speaking up.
Mate, I appreciate that,
especially being a doctor, being a medical professional, as you say, is it seen as a weakness? You're meant to be this you know, machine, this robot who can fix everyone. But no one ever thinks of the other side. You, at the end of the day, you're a human, mate.
Yeah, it is. It's human beings, and you know, dealing with, you know, we all have, you know, it's not like we go back to our cave and sit there with our computer. We have personal lives as well.
Exactly.
We have, you know, we have to go through, you know, issues at home.
You've touched on. You've gone through a lot yourself.
Issues, you know, we you know, stuff like that. So this. Like you, we are humans. We have to go home to our sort of, you know, to our issues. So, 100%. Yeah, like, that's the thing. Like I was nervous about talking about it, but I was like, you know what? I don't give a fuck. Like I really do not give a fuck. Like, and I think people, and there's been positive responses that you get from it. Like, you know, like, oh, thank you for speaking out. I'm suffering with the same issue and stuff like that.
Sorry, and especially yourself. Now you've got this platform.
Yeah.
You're a human. You're relatable. People hear you talk about something and go, fuck me, I've got that.
Yeah.
And then they'll message you, and you could be helping so many people without realising.
Definitely.
But, like, listen, keep talking about it, mate, honestly. And listen, I'm a pair of ears. If you ever want to have a little chat, mate, I'm always here for you, buddy. So, yeah.
Mate, I appreciate it.
Thanks for opening up.
No, honestly, it was that was the biggest thing. And it will be, and it's the people you just don't, you're like people you don't expect as well. Like, it's so, and you think it's so common nowadays, especially in the Western world.
Yeah.
Whether it happens, you know, the other side of the world, I don't know, but I just think everyone in life is going to go through a form of mental health.
Massively.
Whether it's depression, anxiety, you know, and it's a
society we live in that you know, and I'm scared for my children because I talk about this all the time. We used to play out on a weekend. We'd get up, have our breakfast, go missing, come back. I don't let my kids outside because I don't trust society.
It's different now.
But now they're absorbed with the phones, iPads, PlayStations, and the pressure on like TikTok, all these filters and stuff. Like, it's having a massive knock-on effect on people's mental state, and it scares me. My daughter goes to senior school next year, and I'm just not ready for it. Not ready at all, because I'm like, it's giving me anxiety thinking about, I know what girls are like, teenage girls, and I'm like,
girls, mate, you know, me and you were lads at 15, 16, you know what lads are like, that's the thing.
Listen,
and it's even
I'll be getting done for murder. I'll be cutting dicks off everywhere.
Even worse now, like, it's not as straightforward as...
Do you know what though, right? I was saying this in work the other day, so I was saying about like, I'd end up cutting fucking 15-year-old kids' dicks off and everything to go near my daughter, but at the same time, is anyone confident how to use it now? Because they're all fucking absorbed by TikTok and fucking all these social medias. They won't know how to fucking use it, do you know what I mean?
But the thing is, mate, but you know, how old are you now, if you don't mind?
30.
30, yes, I'm 32, so we've grown up similar areas.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, mate, there were no, when we were in like year 10, 11, 9, there was no hard drugs at school. No. Maybe the most people smoked was like weed.
That was it. Kids are pure taking cocaine and everything on the schoolyards.
Like,
lad.
To be honest,
the worst thing in school I remember was bottles of Rush.
Yeah.
And that was like the last year.
And even weed, like,
you know, the fucking open bum hole.
Yeah, that was it. Go to the park. And stuff like Coke and MD, you see them in life when you get older, you know, when you're the young professionals and stuff like that. But mate, when you're getting them in school, fucking ecstasy tablets, Coke, some of the legal highs and stuff like that. Mate, when they're 13, 14.
But it's accessible now, and that's the problem.
It's absolutely mad.
Like, there's drug dealers on Instagram. I keep getting accounts trying to follow me, like weed dealers, and like at the touch of a button, it's like, how? Like, you had to know someone for a number. Now it's just a click of a button on the internet. It's scary.
And the worst is like, they've got the pictures of it all, and then on it they were like, don't DM for... I was like, you're a...
it's fucking... It is. It's daft, isn't it? Again, thank you very much for opening up.
Mate, I appreciate it, man.
Want to have a little key change now? A little bit of lightheartedness. It's the little game of play. It's called Everyone Has Their Price. Don't know if you've seen it or not, but I'll... there's a section on here. I ask people a series of... sometimes horrible questions to see what you're willing to do for the payout. The £1 million question, if I must. So I'm going to play my theme tune and then I'll get into the questions. Right, so I don't know where I get these from. When I'm writing them on the couch, he goes to me, how the fuck do you come up with this shit, lad? Like, I've asked people some horrible stuff. And you've got a patient in your room complaining about lower back pains, so you've decided, do a urine test. For 150 grand, you've got to drink the piss like a tequila shot. Are you doing it?
In front of them?
Yeah. No. Imagine that.
Just like
so
when they've left the room.
No, so like they come in and go, well, yeah, doctor, and you go, oh, yeah, sound, open it instead of putting your little litmus paper in, you just go bang, knock it back in front of them, 150 grand on the table. No. Sound.
I don't know what they did. I'd be more worried about the look on their face rather than the taste of their piss. I'd be more worried about it.
You're my doctor, what the fuck are you doing, lad? Alright then, I'll move on. So, you're working at the next anti-Fowler fight, right? Yeah. He's in the changing room warming up. For 200 grand, you've got to get 2 chairs, stand both feet on them, drop your kecks, and just let him right hook your ball bag. 200 grand off anti-Fowler, full on right hook.
Are other people watching?
Listen, just whoever's in the changing room. It's not televised or nothing. It's just whoever's in that room at that moment in time.
They have to see my small...
your onion bag everywhere.
Fucking nudger, like 200 grand.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, definitely.
It's fucking a lot of money.
I deal with the embarrassment of everyone else in the room.
I'm an ass. I've got fucking 200 grand now. Good lad. All right then.
200 grand. Yeah, I'll do.
So you like cars? Do you?
I like cars. Yeah,
What's your dream car?
Mercedes G-Wagon or a Bentley Jeep.
Sound. All right then. You can have the car of your dreams with unlimited insurance, right?
I don't have to pay for it.
Don't have to pay. You get the car and you get insurance forever.
Yeah.
But you've got to drive around with a big picture of Jimmy Savile on your bonnet.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Look, I'm not asked.
What are they going to do? Abuse me in my fucking Bentley Jeep or what you
fucking sound then.
Maybe not. Savile's a bit like... Savile's almost seen as like a comical figure. I'm not saying he's comedy. I'm not saying he's comedy.
No, but I know what you mean.
Like,
there's loads of jokes about it and everything.
Someone more...
There's one...
Prince Andrew, I don't know.
Yeah.
He would be one. Or someone who's really like... Someone who's really like... I don't know. 100%. Yeah, that's not a problem. Yeah, mate, I'll at the front and the back.
Yeah, I'm not asked, yeah. It's right.
Yeah.
Well... I'll jump back into the medical side of things then. This one, he balked at this one today. So, you've got a patient who's peg fed, right?
Yeah.
For 400 grand, you've got to open the peg and suck the contents of the stomach out for 10 seconds. When he was peg fed the baby, the amount of times he had fucking all warm stomach juice all over me, I was like,
no.
400 G's, no. 10 seconds a long time, though, isn't it?
No.
Oh no, I've just got shivers. Right, we'll move on. Last one. Right, are you a fan of fried chicken?
Fried chicken.
Love fried chicken.
Have you been to that place in it's in town. It's like around the corner. What's it called?
Yes. What's it called? Patterson's. No.
Patterson's nice. Yeah. Patterson's
is it nice? Is it? Am I gonna get one?
Even the other one.
I'm gonna get one.
Clock
or whatever.
Clock,
yeah. I think I know. I think it's Clock. Yeah.
I love my fried chicken. I love chicken wings and fried chicken and chicken wings are nice.
All right then. You've got to batter your chicken with all the scrapings from a patient with psoriasis and eat it for 250 grand. So just they come in, it's like scratching their elbows and you batter your chicken and fry it.
Like, and it's fried.
Fried psoriasis everywhere.
How like bloody is the how dirty are the scrapings? Like how bad is the scrapings? Like, are we talking
like severe?
Are we talking like a month old or like years? 250 grand.
250 grand.
And they're not seeing this.
They're not involved. They're just like, they're in your room talking to you, and like they're just moving and it's just shaking off onto the floor and all that.
They've left the room.
You get your dustpan and brush it up. Egg wash your chicken, roll it in the slices and fry it.
Go on, mate. 250 grand.
It's cost anyway. I love that you were like, so they've gone. Fucking sound then. Not ass. Call them back next week. That was nice, though.
Yeah, go on, 250.
It's right, it was nice one, mate. Right, so yeah, you're flying there, then you're fucking a good few fucking grand up, 100 grand there, so you're flying.
Yeah. So how much money have I got? I've got 250 grand.
So you done...
I've got the free car.
You didn't do the urine test, right? You've done 200 grand for Anthony Fowler. Yeah. You've got your car. Yeah. The peg-fed one, 400 Gs, you said no, didn't you?
Yeah, I've affirmed no.
Yeah, and then, so, 450k and a Bentley Jeep with unlimited insurance, you're flying here.
Mate, I'm $500,000 there with
$500,000,
car,
you're flying here.
Or for what, some fried chicken, or for Jimmy Savile on my car.
Yeah,
and
a ball bag and some psoriasis chicken.
Yeah,
flying.
That's
it's an easy day at work, that, isn't it?
If you want.
Good lad. Right, so the last section, I like to ask the guest what the future holds for them.
Yeah.
You know, if there's any sort of media plans, long-term plans. Yeah. So what does the future hold for you?
Good question. So just keeping going with my podcast, really. Yeah. So that's the Dr. Rudd podcast. We're 100 episode now. We interviewed Tyson Fury and Conor McGregor's nutritionist the other day.
Yeah, I've seen it.
George Lockhart. So I bring out like 1 to 2 episodes a week. I've opened up my own COVID testing clinic now.
Okay.
They're based in Chester. It's called Blind Spot. I'm the medical director there. It's called Blind Spot Testing. Okay. So you know when you come home from traveling, or you have to travel, you get a tested on day 2 and day 8. So you know you can get in touch with them. You know if you need testing as well, COVID testing, and just continuing like on my journey really on my mental health journey really to inspire other people and just keep doing what I'm doing really. That's it. I think that's a big thing. Like the big thing like social media, like, that's the thing I don't like about social media. It's almost used as a platform for people to show off and live a life of, you know, they're not living in Dubai and all this bullshit like that.
Be real, be vulnerable, show people that side.
If you've had an issue, you know, and you've recovered from that, be proud and use the platform to inspire other people.
100%.
Instagram. So I think I want to push that issue and stuff, like, you know, or anything. It doesn't have to be mental health. If you've recovered from, I don't know, anything like that, that's what you use that platform
proud about it.
Be platform. Like that's the thing with social media now. It's all Instagram. It's such a lie. It's such
a
lie.
It is. People
buying followers and likes. Like it's so sad. Like what for? What like. Have you noticed, like, there's some profiles that I checked them a few months ago and they had 100 and now you got 24,000. It's like, come on, like, was your money really worth going and buying some fucking followers?
Do you know what? And that's the thing, like...
For what? For people to dress up? For you to dress up in different outfits? Like...
I'd never, ever, like, buy followers or anything, but I was going through this on... Have you heard of the website Fiverr?
I've heard they design that.
They do all kinds, yeah. So I got my theme tune off them. There was ones on there about helping you with your social media reach and growth and stuff.
I've had people contact me about
I was in touch with this fella, and then he was trying to give me the hard sell, and I was like,
"We can increase your
and I was like, I'm not interested. I'm not interested."
Because I asked the guy that helps. I asked my mate, and he was like, "I was like, what do they do?" And he was like, "They'll just buy you followers."
This is what's happened. So he was trying to give me the hard sell, and I was like, yeah, I'm not bothered anymore, buddy. And he was like, please, we can be great together. And he was pushing and pushing and pushing.
500 quid.
And then next minute, he was like, look, here's the type of work I can do. I got like 50 follow requests, and every account was just a blag account. And I went, stop it now. Stop it, because I look like a fucking virgin with all these shit followers. I'm not interested in any way, shape, or form.
3,
yeah,
like this.
Exactly, yeah. There's no images, there's no posts or nothing. I was like, fuck right off right now. And you know what? He hasn't been in touch with me for about 2 months, and this morning I woke up to a message off him. Do you want to work together? I was like, no, I don't. Please leave me alone.
They're not based. They'll be based in India.
He's in a different country.
I don't know what they. How do they?
Thirsty.
What are they doing? Like, what are they actually making fake accounts?
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
150,000 fake accounts just for you.
I feel embarrassed. I had to go through and like delete all these followers. I was like, I'm not having you follow me. Fuck that shit.
Mate, it's not. And there'd be a lot of people, like people you don't expect, like that'll buy these followers and stuff like that. It's just.
It's mad, innit? What you get out of it. Like, but don't get me wrong, right? As I said, I would never buy them. But when I was off social media for so long, and when I started the pod, I had about 200 followers, and now I'm close to 1,500.
It's good.
And it's good growth.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
But at the beginning,
it's about being genuine, like, you know.
But at the beginning, it consumed me. I was watching my followers, and I was going, I've got one more here, 2 more there. My babe was
Who's
like,
unfollowed me?
Yeah,
I'm gonna unfollow them.
I was going on the insights.
Mate, I got this app, like, well, no, I've fucking deleted it now, but I was just like, who's unfollowed me? I'm gonna unfollow them. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
And that's it. My bird said,
it's not real life,
you're spending a lot of time worrying about that. She said people will follow to unfollow. It's just the whole thing. She was like, stop it.
That's
I was
sad
like,
as well. I don't know why people do that. Like,
but now that I've stopped, I feel much happier. So I'm not asked who follows me and who doesn't follow me. I'm doing my shit. I like the sound of my own voice. I like meeting new guests. I like talking, and that's all I'm in it for.
It's that sort of soul.
And I get to spend time with this lovely face.
I was saying all the artwork's nice here, man.
It's all right.
Yeah. Where did you get this one from? These
are just off Amazon. So they're just off Amazon.
Kanye one's nice.
That's Have a Word podcast, Adam Rowe and Dan Nightingale, and it's signed. And then that's the presence of John Charles.
That's nice.
It's a lovely one, that, yeah.
What's the significance between that?
So, the painting, I can't remember the name of it now, Win the Battle. It's about like mental health and stuff. Yeah. So when he came on as a guest, he was like, I'd like to give you a print. Yeah. And he was just pick one off the website, and I went through, and there was a Kobe Bryant one or a Dennis Rodman one that I really wanted. And then a lot of our conversation was about his addiction.
Do you like your basketball?
Yeah. And like his addiction with cocaine and his mental health battles and stuff. And then I thought, that just jumps out to me. So I was like, can I have Win the Battle, please? And he was like, yeah, no problem.
That's like, have you seen basketball? Have you seen that new Netflix thing, The Last Chance?
The Michael Jordan one.
There's the last. That's the last dance. That's good. That I've seen that. Yeah. There's another one called The Last Chance. It's basically like, have you seen the film Coach Carter from years?
Yes. What a movie that was, by the way.
I love that movie. So basically, it's they're following a team in East LA.
Okay.
And they're sort of a college. It's like a college team. You love it. Like,
I'll give it a watch. Yeah. I'll give it a watch.
You support.
I'm a bit weird. I'm not a huge fan. Like I was when I was younger, and then I drifted out of it. But at the minute, probably a bit of a Dallas fan. Because I like Luka Doncic is a big fan of him at the minute. But yeah,
I haven't followed him a week, but me and my brother used to support the Pistons because my uncle and auntie lived in
no way.
So I remember that year when we beat the Lakers.
Well, I've got family in Chicago, so the Bulls in the 90s I was flying with, but the Bulls are shit now.
The Bulls are. Yeah, because I've been to Chicago once, but I want to go back again because it's only about
I've never
3
been.
hours from Detroit.
So all my family from Ireland, and one of my aunties left. Yeah. Married an Irish fella. She went to fucking Chicago and married an Irish fella in Chicago. I was like, what are you doing that for? Do you know what I mean? But she always invites us out, but I've just never been out.
The Lakers are doing. Are the Lakers doing the best at the moment?
Yeah, they won last year. They won last season. But yeah, flying. Right before we end then, is there anything you want to plug? Socials, pods, anything?
No, just my podcast, the Dr Us podcast, and I'm on social media at Dr Us podcast. But yeah, no. Pleasure, man.
Yeah, no, it was an absolute pleasure having you on.
I really enjoyed that, man. It's good.
Yeah, thank you very much, buddy. Right, see you in a bit. Ta-ra, boys.